There's some food. These are going to be figs. There's some food. Peppers, garlic, apples, rhubarb, cherries. Well, in a couple of months. There's some food. This is actually shellfish. This is oysters at Taylor Shellfish Farm, just like what John was talking about. Um, yeah, delicious if you're into this sort of thing. Mm. This is one of my favorite topics, food, farming. I come from a farming family on both sides. I really like the topic, and part of it is that I love food. 8 billion people on the planet, a little less, but that number is growing fast, and we need to figure out how to feed everybody. We're not doing it now. There's a billion people about that don't have access to enough food. So we're going to need to be more efficient about how we get food to people so there's less food waste. Right now, there technically is enough food produced to feed everybody, but the system is so inefficient that a lot of it is lost as waste. So we need more efficiency in the food system, and we're also going to need to just grow more food. And the food system that we have, that the Green Revolution produced, as John did a really good job explaining, there has been huge benefits in production from fertilizer, from pesticides, from irrigation, and from high yield varieties. But there are big downsides. Fertilizers and pesticides, especially, takes an enormous amount of energy, typically fossil fuel energy, to produce food for us. Um, and that's going to get more and more expensive as oil gets more and more expensive. Kind of ironic. Right now, oil is so cheap, but that won't last. Um, and the downstream effects of pesticides, the poisons that we spray on our crops to keep them from being eaten by bugs and rodents and fungus and other competitor plants. They're not actually eating the food plants, but they're competing with them. Those have health effects for people and for wildlife and for wild systems everywhere. So that's not going to be able to go on forever either, especially since pesticides are getting less effective as pests adapt. So what do we do? How do we produce food? There are so many wacky, awesome, interesting, crazy, bad, every category of idea out there. I'm just going to talk about my one favorite one. And that's really related to what Ron Finley talked about. I think he did a really good job articulating how anybody can grow their own food. Um, takes a little bit of knowledge, but if you have access to dirt, water, and sunlight, and seeds, you got to get seeds, you can grow your own food. The United Nations also proposes something similar, and they call it ecological agriculture. And instead of the giant monocropped systems that we see throughout the world, thousands upon thousands of acres planted in a single crop, farmed by gigantic machines, it's very different. It's a really diverse system, tens or even hundreds of species of food plant all grown together in the same system, typically with animals. Uh, it's a really high diversity of foods. Because of that reason is really resilient to pests and bad conditions, changing conditions, and requires, if done well, and that's the ticket. Takes a lot of knowledge, but if done well, requires way less inputs as far as fertilizers, pesticides, etc. The catch is, takes a lot of human labor. So that's my proposition. Ecological agriculture. See the link below.